Hey, I'm Ty.
I'm Gavino from Advanblack. As you guys know, we have the Road Glide fairing, we have the Street Glide fairing, and now we just came up with the ST fairing. You know what would be a great idea, Ty? To put the ST fairing on a Road King.
A Road King?
Yes.
I think we've got one right here.
We do.
Check it out. We're looking at a 21 or a 22 Road King. It's a special, right?
It is a special. It's a 114.
114 special Road King edition. We're looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like to have an ST fairing mounted right here. What do you think it'll look like, Gabino?
I don't know. Is it going to be too big? Is it going to be too small? Is it going to look off? Is it going to look amazing?
So
we don't know.
We've been installing them, like you said, Road Glides, Street Glides. We've got them on the lowrider.
Yeah. We got parts on every single bike, so let's try something different.
How do you think? You think it's going to be easy? Going to be difficult?
No.
We got it?
You got it.
I got it. All right. Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right, Ty, what are the first steps? How are we going to do this?
Well, first thing was bringing it in and getting on the lift, but what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take apart the front end. So in order to do that, we're going to take apart the headlight, the nacelle, get the trim ring, the bezels off, and once we get this all removed, then we'll open it up and be able to see what it is we need to do to install the bracket.
Okay, and then for most of us that don't know what they're doing, or they want to figure out what steps, what are you taking off first?
Well, the first thing we'll do is we'll take off this bezel, this trim ring, which is actually holding the headlight in. So that piece will come off, and then there's screws that hold the headlight into the nacelle. Pull those off, pull that out. We'll take the headlight wiring out, and then we'll pull this trim piece off, and then we'll go ahead, we'll pop this cover off around your key ring, and then there's 2 bolts there. That'll allow the nacelle to come off once we remove these last 2 pieces, and it'll all come apart and open it up. So
Seems simple enough.
Yeah, simple enough. We can do this at home.
All right, let's take it.
All right, let's do it. Alrighty, we want to start out with the ST fairing. The ST fairing is going to be mounted on the Road King, and in order to do so, you're going to go ahead and you're going to need your lower support bracket. That's going to give the stability to the rear portion of the ST fairing. Then we've got the part that mounts to the neck, and then this is going to give the support to the front of the ST fairing. We've got a headlight that was provided. It's a 5 3/4 headlight. We've got headlight extensions, turn signal extensions, a bag of nuts, bolts, and mounts, and then also the bucket where the headlight will mount to. And the final piece will be the windscreen. Alrighty, we're gonna get started. We're gonna do that by taking the nacelle. I say nacelle, could be nickel, but either way. First thing is to do is remove the trim ring. So we're gonna take this bottom screw out first. Remove that, set it to the side. Take your trim ring, rotate it counterclockwise, pull it off. And then we've got some screws around the ring of the headlight. We're gonna go ahead and remove those. All right, after you get out all these screws, then you pull out the headlight, and then you'll take the headlight and remove it from the wiring harness. Set it aside. All the screws have been removed. The rubber nuts are still in place, and so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove this trim piece here on the top, which basically hides how the nacelle comes together from our left and right piece. You're gonna have to hold that, and if it is loose enough, you can just hold it with your hand. Remove it. It has a big washer that spreads the gap. Now we'll take our plastic pry tool, and we're gonna pry up on this trim ring, beauty ring that surrounds your lock cylinder. And then you've got 2 Phillip head screws that you'll remove. This helps you to remove this cover on the top. And this should lift off, and it does. Magic. All right, now you come over to this side of the nacelle, and we're gonna remove These two bolts, you want to hold it because as soon as this comes out, we are going to lose it. All right. Carefully pull that off, set it aside, and then we will also do this side. And there you go. Alrighty, we removed the nacelle and the headlight, and now we're gonna start getting into the wiring. We wanna make room so that we can put the adapter bracket in. So these are just two plastic screws that hold the wiring harness to the neck. So you're gonna back these out, remove them, and then slide this harness forward and out of the way. And the same thing for the other side. You're gonna go ahead and loosen that plastic screw, which is basically going into a spread nut. Remove that, push forward. All right, pull that out of the way. Then you may have to cut a few zip ties or do a few things to move the wires out of the way so you can make room. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna slide that bracket in. All right, this is where it all starts to come together. So we're gonna go ahead and we are going to slide the bracket right onto the neck in between these wiring harness connectors that were just removed with those plastic nuts. Gonna be very careful, make sure that no wires are in the way. You're gonna go ahead and grab the two Allen bolts that are supplied with the kit. You're gonna slide those through. May have to move the bracket up and down a little bit. Then you're gonna go ahead, you've got a washer on each side, and then you've also got a lock nut. So the lock nut is going to be a 7/16, and the Allen head bolt side is a 3/16. So that was the top, and now we're going to come down and find the bottom. Looks like we've got to lift the wires up a little bit out of the way. All right, so if you're working on a lift, you're gonna need to go ahead and back it out of the wheel chock so that you can turn the wheel just enough to be able to get this bolt in and slide it through. Washer and lock nut on the other side. And then we'll go ahead and tighten them down. Again, it's a 3/16 hex head and a 7/16 socket for the nut. All right, so I like to check my work as I go along. We just installed the bracket, put both bolts all the way through the neck. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set the inner fairing on. You've got these two long slots, and then you've got these two hooks that can go on. I just take one bolt and put it in the lower one so that it doesn't swing. Just hand tighten it real quick, and then you can come over and you can see and check profile, check angle, if you come to the front. So with this, it's being a Road Glide special, you've got the turn signals mounted up on the handlebars. So we want to check with the bars that this customer has to see if they will actually clear, because he does not want to relocate those. He wants to leave those up. So this is a great time to kind of test all that. Take a look. And this looks like it's going to work out just right. So also in regard to putting the bracket onto the neck of the bike, there are multiple holes on the top. And so you want to put it and locate it in the hole that is furthest forward in the bike, and that will get your bracket set in the correct position. All right, so now we are going to actually remove these black wire organizers on the left and the right hand side and pull all the plugs out of them as well. Be careful when you're doing so. You're going to kind of rotate your turn signal plug and other plug that is in here as well, and unclip and slide. And there are a couple of wire ties that you will need to cut in order to remove this. Removing these obviously makes it easier to get to the bolts that go through the neck of the bike. And then we will be putting clamps around these that are supplied, and those will help clean and organize your wires. All right, these are removed. Alrighty, this is a point where we want to make sure that we do some clarification. We are getting ready to go ahead and install these wire tie back brackets, and what we do is we're going to install those with a long bolt all the way through the neck. So you've got 3 long bolts that go all the way through the neck. On the bottom you have the smaller one in diameter. Right above it is the larger one. So the smaller one's a 3/16, the one above it, it's a 6mm. And then the other small one is, you're gonna put it all the way through. You're gonna capture the same bracket on this side, come through the neck, capture all these wires, put it on here, and then you go ahead and use a washer and a nut. And now you've got all your wires contained, and this is actually what replaces the black plastic that came from Harley. This replaces those. All right, now we have the lower support bracket for the fairing. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fish this in between the fender and the lower tube, fork tube of the frame. There is one hole. It does not go there. It actually goes up above that hole and slides in behind the frame. And then you'll put your bolt and washer through here, and washer and nut on the backside. All right, now we're installing the bolt that holds the lower support bracket in. And I don't know if it's a Road King special or if the standard may have a nut back here to be able to just screw the bolt into, but we had to add a nut and a washer on the backside. Alrighty, at this point in the game is when you're going to go ahead and you're going to extend your turn signals if you are actually relocating them. For this bike in particular, we're going to, on the Road King Special, we're going to leave the turn signals located on the handlebars, but this is when you would be installing those. So those are your turn signal relocator extenders, and then we also have our headlight extension, which we're going to go ahead and plug in and lock into the factory harness. And then we're actually going to be using the H4 headlight. So this is the configuration for the H4 headlight. Inner fairing, we're going to go ahead and slide this on. As you can see, there are 2 hooks, one on either side, and then there's 2 elongated slots on the inner fairing. You'll go ahead and line those up, slide those on, and then it'll tip back a little bit, but then you go ahead, I just can take one bolt, throw one bolt to washer. You're going to go ahead and use blue Loctite on these as well. And now I can step away and you can get an idea of what it starts to look like. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach the inner fairing to the lower support bracket that is mounted to the down tube. And so I have not completely tightened down all of the bolts at this point because we still want to have a little bit of room to be able to insert and line everything up, and then we'll go back and snug everything in order. So here, these don't require a washer, but I did put blue Loctite on them. The actual bolt head has serrations that will dig into the plastic. And now we're on to the outer fairing. Before we can put the outer fairing on, we like to go ahead and we like to assemble the headlight. inside and then be able to put it on all at once. Advanblack, we offer a 5 3/4 headlight. It's a really nice headlight, nice option to be able to go ahead and install right into our headlight bucket, and then that all drops right into place. For this installation, a customer brought us their 5 3/4 light and a bracket that we are going to make work with what we already have. All right, we are in the process of experimenting. We are removing the Advanblack headlight mounting bracket, and we are going to see if we can adapt the Harley 7-inch so that we don't need to run a 5 3/4. So we will remove this bracket, and here is the Harley bracket. Alrighty, folks, we tried it. Good intentions, but we don't quite have it yet. But we'll figure it out. Stay tuned. And now we're getting ready to install the aftermarket headlight. And in order to do that, we started out with our headlight bucket. I disassembled it into these pieces to be able to combine it with the bracket they gave us in order to be able to install that light. We just laid the outer ring on top of the bracket mount, and then we'll take the headlight, find where the writing is. For this one, it's on the top, and we'll drop that in. And then we will find center, and then we'll take the outer trim bezel and lay that on top of the headlight, which is going to hold it and hold all the brackets together. We have 3 machine screws that come with all the hardware, and these are going to be able to screw this trim bezel down. These are actually button head screws. Headlights installed, trim bezel ring securing the headlight into the bracket of the fairing, and now the final piece is to push in the trim ring and rotate it, and it clicks right into place. Headlights installed. And now we get to install the outer fairing onto the inner fairing, and what we'll do is we'll bring this right up into place, and we will connect the headlight. So the headlight is an H4 connection. This is what we've installed earlier, was the pigtail from the stock headlight to the H4. Feed that through, rotate this into place, and then I just grab 2 of the screws to hold the outer to the inner. And thankfully, these are produced very well and the fit is excellent. And as we install the 2 bolts on the top just to hold everything in place, we come and we'll work ourselves down into the air deflector. I like to start here. Since everything lines up and fits so nicely, it goes in and feels nice and tight. Work your way up. This one we've already installed. And now we'll work our way to the other side. All right, we are getting to the final stage. This is the windscreen. The windscreen comes with grommets. You need to install the grommets. I call them the boogers. There's no really easy way to get them in, but man, you've got to press, flip it over, and then work it through, and then we will do the install. So we set it up on the bike, and we line everything up. Now you're not gonna want to tighten these up. You want to kind of just get them started and work your way around. So that's a good start. You can feel it as it goes into the J-nut. These you do not want to add any Loctite to. All right, this is the trim piece. This is the piece that goes over the top of the fork in the triple tree to clean up everything. So that just installs right here, and then it uses the 2 bolts from the factory that hold on the nacelle on the upper left and upper right. All right, and now for the final touches, we're gonna put on the handlebar clamp cover as it locates into place with 2 screws. Here it is, the final conclusion for the entire thing. I've never been so excited about a piece of plastic in my life. And it says unlock and lock. Let's go ahead and put it on. You gotta be kidding me. You wanna redo that? No. You're a jerk. Voila! Done! Fine! Complete.
Man, this looks amazing. What do you think, Ty?
Man, it is fire. It looks good. I am so thankful we got to do a road test. Feel it in the wind. It also looks amazing.
It sure does. Man, the lines on it, everything looks good. The test ride was amazing. It blocks a lot of wind. It goes with it. I thought it was going to be too small. It's not. It's a perfect size.
I'd have to agree, Gabino. This is a good size. I thought it was going to be too small as well, but it fits good. You look at the profile, it rides right, it's set nice, blocks some wind, gives you Road King a whole new look. We got a couple of friends with us today. This is our friend Kendall. Kendall, this is your first time seeing a Road Glide with an ST fairing. What are your thoughts?
I think it looks good. Aerodynamic-wise, a full-size bike with a little fairing looks nice.
Alrighty, you see it right here in front of you, the Road King with an ST fairing. Looks great, proportions are great, lines look good, it all ties together well. So if somebody wanted to get one, Gabino, where would they go ahead and get an ST fairing?
It's very simple. They could give us a call or give their local dealer a call. Get yourself an ST fairing, customize it whatever color you want, and make your own bike your own.
Thanks so much for watching. We're glad that you got a chance to see this. If you want to check out more, check us out at the Advanblack YouTube channel.
We'll see you there.